Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is the most remote inhabited island in the world. It's nearly 1,300 miles away from the nearest inhabited island and over 2,000 miles away from mainland Chile in South America. It's most famous, however, for its enigmatic monolithic statues, or Moai. However, due to its remoteness, it can be really expensive to get there. First of all, a quick Google flight search yields frightening results. And since I'm not a drug dealer, a doctor, or a barista at Starbucks, I'm going to have to find a way to get there for less. So, using a few travel hacks and preparing myself for adventure and not luxury, I'm going to make this happen. My first hack is the self-transfer. Basically, instead of booking the flight as a whole, I will piece together an itinerary by purchasing segments separately with cheaper fares on different airlines. The potential downside to this is that if you miss a flight because of a delay on a prior airline, the new airline is not responsible for the delay on the previous airline. To mitigate risk here, I'm going to schedule long layovers. Some might jump off the wagon at the thought of a long layover, but I'm going to flip this on its head. For me, this becomes an opportunity for adventure at some new locations. And besides, it's this or I don't go at all. The greatest thing to happen in recent years as a lover of travel is the airline's decision to offer ridiculously cheap fares and then charge a la carte style for any extras. If you want to choose your seat or have any carry-on or checked bags, the airlines will charge substantial amounts for this. This angers some people as their cheap fare suddenly gets out of hand. However, this policy has allowed me to take some really cool trips, so I'm in love with it. What this means for me is that for my whole trip, I will have no overhead bin bag or checked luggage. I'll be taking only this backpack that when you buckle down the sides, it meets the airline's strict definition of a personal item that can fit under the seat in front of me. Also, I won't be able to choose my seat, so I may be sitting in a middle seat and next to some really smelly and rude people. But it's all about your mindset, and my mind is set on adventure. My flights are booked, and to get to my final destination, I have 4 segments on 3 different airlines with long layovers. But I will not be sitting at the airport at these locations. Instead, I intend to find adventure at each stop. I'm on my way to get into my middle seat. I can't wait to see who I'm sitting next to. Oh, she's cute. As it turns out, I got an entire row to myself because I'll often wait to be the last aboard, and then if any rows are open, I'll just jump in there. I'm looking pretty smug here, but as you'll see in a later flight, this almost comes back to bite me in the
Transportation options are located on level 1.
Well, for my 7-hour layover in Orlando, I rented a car for $23, and I'm going to drive up to the UCF campus, check out the campus, and also I'm going to get in a workout today on the track at UCF. So I've got my running shoes, and underneath here I've got my running shorts on and my shirt that I can run in. Maybe after that, I'll try to find a local coffee shop to get like an iced latte or something. Iced latte is actually a really good post-workout drink. So that's the plan. When I turned on the radio in the car, a Spanish-speaking station was playing, which is great because I'm trying to learn Spanish. However, I became acutely aware of how little I can understand when listening to a native speaker at full throttle. So I found something a little more my speed for now. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo, los 7 días de la semana. I finally made it to the UCF campus, ready to hit the track. I'm at the UCF track, and there you can see the stadium, football stadium over there. And I gotta tell you, it's about 82 degrees and about 85% humidity, so this ought to be fun. I'm gonna be dying. After surviving my workout, a UCF athlete was nice enough to let me into the indoor football field to cool off and to use the facilities to clean up a little. There were a couple of players running some drills, and when I told them I was on a long layover, they gave me the opportunity to play some Big 12 football, baby.
My boy coming in from the airport.
I'll throw about 30. All right, cool. You got it?
Yeah. Hey! Yeah.
After tossing the ball around, I had just enough time to get an iced latte and a new coffee sleeve from Flakes and Fables before heading back to the airport. There were a million coffee shops that I could have tried, but this one had really good reviews and a pretty cool name. The latte was great, and I enjoyed the mesmerizing animated wall art. And speaking of animated wall art,
Where am I at? I am at the Orlando International Airport. This is the new C terminal, or new Terminal C, and it's pretty cool.
this is why I made sure that my backpack met the size restrictions of a personal item. I was not being paranoid. I have 8 total segments, and this poor guy is about to pay an extra 75 to $100 to bring his bag on the plane. For my flight to Bogota, I was not so lucky to escape the middle seat, but it's all about your mindset, and I am on an adventure. When I arrived in Bogota, I immediately booked an Uber to Montserrat, or Monserrate, which is a mountain overlooking the city of Bogota. I'll tell you more about this when we get there. I first arrived at this building at the base of the mountain. From here, I'll take a cable car to the top. Bogota is already at an elevation of 8,600 feet above sea level, and this cable car will take us up an additional 1,700 feet to over 10,000 feet above sea level.
We are 3,200 meters above sea level, so I don't know if the camera's picking up my breath. Even though it's summer here, I feel like the camera's not showing my breath. But you can see your breath up here near the equator in the middle of summer.
Yeah, anyway, good story. So, at the top there are brick and stone paths and stairs that wind around small gardens and courtyards. There are a couple of restaurants with incredible views, and it all leads up to a church that was built here originally in the 17th century. And yes, there is a coffee place too. I really enjoyed walking around up here on a calm, cool night with some hot coffee, but the best part really was the view to the city below. With everything that is going on down in that massive city below right now, from up here it just looks so peaceful. I got my obligatory selfie with the Bogota sign, and now I'm ready to head back down into my hotel. I Ubered to my luxury accommodations on this side street where the lobby is a convenience store. But hey, it's close to the airport and I paid about $30. Now it's time for a tour of my room. Perfect for one night. Looks like a comfy bed. This will work. After a great night's sleep, I'm ready for the next leg of my journey.
So I'm leaving my hotel, and I'm gonna try to walk to the airport. It says 25 minutes. The guy at the hotel said it wasn't dangerous, so hopefully I don't get mugged. We'll see.
I did make it safely, and before boarding, I made a quick stop at Juan Valdez.
I got my coffee sleeve from Colombia, and in case you were also wondering, interesting fact, the outlets are just like the United States and Colombia too. So for this flight I got a aisle seat, not too bad. It's the longest flight. I would kind of like to have a window seat, but I'm not 9 years old, so I guess it'll be cool.
For this flight, I got an aisle seat with no one sitting in the middle seat. That's a nice little buffer zone.
Thank you for flying with Avianca.
As we approached Santiago, the gal in the window seat across the aisle was nice enough to take some video of the mountains for me. Finally on the ground, I had a short wait for my Uber to the hotel. Now, technically, Uber is illegal in Chile. So, if you're wondering why I'm sitting in the front seat, well, when the Uber gets there, you just hop in the front seat like it's your best friend or your cousin that picked you up. Very covert. When I arrived at the guest house, it looked exactly as in the pictures I had seen, but the neighborhood didn't exactly match this place. The Uber driver advised me not to walk around the neighborhood, but I'll explore that a little more later. This place was really cool and the owner was awesome. When you walk through the front gate, there's a lovely little tropical courtyard, which I'll take advantage of a little bit later. The owner has put a lot of time into fixing this place up, and it definitely has a bright, welcoming atmosphere. Time to get checked in and see my room.
Okay, Aaron.
As I walk up the stairs to my room, I can see how much the owner cares about this place. The room is clean and cozy, and there's a nice view out the window of the big palm tree in the courtyard. I took a stroll around the neighborhood, read a little bit more about Rapa Nui before I head there the next day, and then tried to decide what I should do. I have a bit of a dilemma right now because, on the one hand, I have an early flight tomorrow to my final destination, which is the whole point of this trip. And so I feel like I really should get rested up. But on the other hand, I feel like I should take an Uber ride into Santiago while I'm here. The main thing that I would see in Santiago is a really tall building and a shopping mall. I think I might go with the sleep. This is a really comfy bed. I did decide on sleep, but when I got up for my early departure the next morning, I found breakfast waiting for me on the table. They were so kind here. But before I go, I want to try one thing. Does the water spin the other way when you flush a toilet in South America? We're about to find out. I don't remember which way it spins in the Northern Hemisphere. With that mystery still unsolved, my cousin picked me up for a ride to the airport. And finally, there it is. I am going to Rapa Nui.
They have some stairs going up to the back entrance. I'm hoping that I get to go outside and go up those back stairs. I always like that. I think that's fun. Well, it looks like I'm not going to get to go up the stairs, but it just occurred to me that the airport at Easter Island is really tiny, and so I'll probably get to go down the stairs there, so I'm pretty excited about that. I also just about missed the flight because... What I am explaining now, out of breath and not so succinctly, is that waiting to be one of the last to board just about cost me my flight to Rapa Nui. When I went to board, I was informed that I needed another form to enter Rapa Nui. I had to run back to security to get this form and then run back to the gate. Had I not waited till the last minute to board, I would have had ample time to do this, but my heart was in my stomach for a few moments as I really thought I was going to miss this flight. I got really lucky for my seat to Easter Island. I got a window seat, extra leg room, and no one sitting next to me. As I viewed the Andes towering above clouds, I noticed that even the engines are made by Rolls-Royce, so I'm feeling pretty fancy. The map of our route on the seatback display gives you a sense of how small and remote this island is. We're flying to the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. After some lunch and a little nap, I finally get my first views of Rapa Nui. I'm getting a lot of glare off the window, but below is Angaroa, the small and only town on the island. And as we touch down, I'm getting really excited to get out and explore. I got my wish to climb down the stairs of this 787 with massive engines and set foot on my final destination. After a short walk across the tarmac, we were given this cheery South Pacific greeting. So I'm leaving the airport. I'm gonna walk to my hotel. Google Maps says it's a 12-minute walk, and then I'm gonna try to go rent a... Along the nice walk to my hotel, I snapped this picture. This was totally me in the 70s. Okay, so this is it. This is where I'm staying. Oh, this is awesome. Hello.
I took this video of the room the next day, that's why the bed's not made, but the room was clean and comfortable, and I didn't intend to spend any non-sleeping time in the room anyway. The manager was extremely helpful, and he promptly answered WhatsApp messages for any questions that I had, and he provided a lot of useful information. As I walk into town to get my rental, I also want to point out that even the manager couldn't believe the price I had booked my room for. Easter Island can be very expensive, but if you aren't bent on luxury, you can stay in a clean, comfortable place for less than $50 a night, all in.
All right, I got my rental and I'm ready to go explore the island.
First, I'm going to head out of town towards the southern coast of the island. Like me, you might be wondering, why did that chicken just cross the road? And while it did make it to the other side, I just couldn't help but think there has to be more to it than that. It seems that I have again missed an opportunity to solve another great mystery of the universe. At any rate, you'll see that avoiding farm animals in the road will be a recurring theme, especially as we get further out of town. As I turn onto the road that runs along the airport runway, you can see the plane that we just came in on. I'm going to speed things up here to get us to the coast. We turn onto a secondary road, and here we go again. After a few minutes, the ocean finally comes into view, and shortly after that, I find a turnoff to get a closer look and do some off-roading. This is awesome. While I certainly came here to see Moai statues, I've always had an image of this remote island being open spaces without fences, offering freedom to explore, and Rapa Nui did not let me down. My next stop along the coast was even better. I rode about halfway down this narrow path leading down the side of the cliff, and then I hiked the rest of the way down to get my first contact with the ocean.
I haven't seen a single Moai yet, but this is already like one of the coolest things I've ever done. I left my dirt bike up on the hill, if you can see it. And I hiked down here, and I'm gonna go try to get in the water. So I made my way down to this little natural pool here. I'm gonna try to take a little swim. Gosh, the water is so nice. Here it comes.
For some reason, I always have the urge to climb rocks when I see them. So after my swim, I put my jeans back on and I climbed up here for a few moments of view and a sea breeze. But now it's time to head back to the bike and see what I can find next. As I head back up the rough terrain, I'm hoping that I'll come across some moai soon. As I ventured further along the coast, I came across these toppled Moai ruins.
This one doesn't have much of a face left, but you can see the face on this guy. You can see how big it was. He was toppled over.
Everyone wants to see the best preserved moai, and so do I, but this spot was really cool. These are a little way off the road, and with no one around, it's easy to imagine that you just discovered them yourself.
The thing that is so great about this island is that there are just square miles of undeveloped land. And it's like, if you just like to explore, you know, it's just so awesome because you can just take off and go all over the island. And what they have closed some places off that used to be open, so it's a little bit less than it used to be, but it is still, I mean, I could spend weeks here just exploring all the different areas. All this area between, like, there's only like 2 main roads between that and the coastline is just like, it's just open land. I mean, it's not like people own it and you can't go on it. You can just explore like this giant island. It's just incredible. It's just really cool if you like to explore. This is just like the place to go, honestly.
As I've been riding along the water, I've been admiring some areas with really big waves, so I decided to find a good spot to get up close and personal.
You can see where I parked the bike up there and hiked down here. The water's warm though, it feels nice.
I got the camera lens dried off, and now I'm ready for some serious wave action.
Holy crap, look at that wave. Holy. Woo! Oh my god, that is absurd.
Let's see an instant replay. I spent a good half hour here just getting blasted by waves.
Oh, I can taste the salt water.
Okay, this has been great, but before this day is over, I'm on a mission for more moai. As I head toward the road, you can see the volcano in the distance that became the quarry where most of the Moai were carved. From there, the mega monoliths were somehow transported to all corners of the island. I'll visit there tomorrow, and that location will provide probably the most iconic images of the Moai, at least from my perspective. But before I see more Moai, I come across some Moai. Sorry about that, but seriously, how many opportunities will I ever have to do a dad joke about Moai? I took a shortcut off the main dirt road to an even smaller and dirtier road, and after a few more minutes, I came around a corner to this beautiful sight. I've been having so much fun riding the dirt bike around and playing in the water that these are the first standing Moai that I have seen. But I'll see a few more before sunset and a lot more in the next couple of days. Next, as I head to the island's only sand beach, we get another nice view of the volcano/ancient Moai factory. After a short but picturesque ride, I arrived at the beach area just before sunset.
So cool, right by the beach. And there's some Moai here, some statues, and then people are out here having picnics.
This beautiful little cove is the only sandy beach on the island, as most of the coastline is dominated by volcanic rocks. I'll come back here tomorrow for a swim, but this was a relaxing way to wrap up my busy day with calm waters and the sun setting on these beach-going Moai. The next morning, I rode into town to find coffee, and it didn't take me long to find more Moai, as there are a couple of nice-looking Moai right by the harbor. I came in to check out Nana's, which would turn out to be a regular morning coffee stop for me. They have an inviting outdoor seating area with a view of the ocean, and tasty coffee. A really nice way to start the day. After a great cup of joe, I'm headed to the southern tip of the island where there's an extinct volcano with a huge crater containing a freshwater lake. But right on the edge of town, I came across this guy hanging out all alone by a small harbor. There would have been other Moai on that base with him, but apparently they have been toppled or destroyed.
It's right by the harbor. There's this big open grass area, and it's absolutely beautiful. Unbelievable.
Honestly, I kind of see a resemblance. As some clouds move in, I say goodbye to my Easter Island doppelganger and continue to head toward the volcanic crater. After a short ride, the volcano comes into sight in the distance. I pull over to get a look at the waves crashing into the rocks. I just don't get tired of this. After enjoying the crashing seas for a bit, I made my way up a winding road to the rim of the volcano.
This is ridiculous. You can see the rain on that mountain over there. Unbelievable. That's a pretty far drop.
After hiking around the rim for a while and taking in some incredible views, I make the lovely drive back down, which I will speed up for you. back down, I just have to pull over and check out some more waves. Sorry, but this was probably my favorite wave watching spot.
Oh my god.
Alright, I could seriously spend all day there, but next I want to head to the quarry where the Moai were carved. However, on the way there, I am going to make one time-sensitive stop.
787, baby.
Since there is only one flight a day here, or sometimes two, I had to time out my arrival at the end of the runway. Anyway, as I head to the quarry, I run into some more, but these had horns and they weren't moving. Fortunately though, I did make it to the other side without being gored. A little further down the road, a stray shower fogs up my camera, and a few stray horses almost trample me. But the quarry is now in sight, and this really is my favorite Moai spot. The Moai scattered about here are ones that were, for various reasons, never transported from the quarry after being carved. I hate overuse of the word surreal, but for me, it really applies here.
This is the spot that I've always wanted to come right here. This is the pictures I've always seen of these ones on the side of the hill. Some of them half face down. This is awesome. It's amazing.
After hiking all around the quarry area, I decided to go back to the beach and actually get in the water this time. But of course, on my way there, I saw a turnoff that I couldn't resist, and it led me here.
This is just another really cool spot that I would not have been able to get to if I didn't have some kind of all-terrain vehicle. I was able to come up that path right there. It's not much of a path from the road down below. I don't know if you can make out the road. Probably not. I can see it with my eyes, but probably not on the video. From the roadway down there. And it's just like, there's of course nobody up here. And it's just like a stunning view. Okay, it's time to head back down. Enjoy the show. That was stupid.
On the way to the beach, I did stop off to watch more waves, but I will jump right to the beach.
Okay, so I found a nice little sandy spot on the beach here. With some moai right behind me. It's time to go for a swim. So here we go. That's invigorating.
So I made a friend out in the water while attempting an awkward selfie, and she offered to take my picture as long as I mentioned her in the video. So, muchas gracias, Diana. En serio eres asombrosa. Right after getting out of the water, this appeared. Are you kidding me? And since all of the Moai face inland, it looks like they're enjoying this view too. As the rainbow faded, I headed up to get a little closer look at these Moai, which still have their hats, and then over into the beautiful park area for a little snack.
So this is not a bad spot to sit and have a little snack. Eat one of my Quest bars. Pretty cool little park.
After an amazing afternoon at the beach, I could stick around here for the sunset, but I saw a little side road on the way in that was calling my name. So I'm gonna head out there and see what I can find. The road finally ended at this secluded and peaceful spot, and so it was here that I decided to watch the sun set. When I got back into town, I stopped into the store to get a snack for later, and then, at a little bodega, I came across these.
Not bad. I hope that's supposed to be brown.
Right in the middle of town, they have a really cool multi-sport facility with an indoor arena and a soccer field. These facilities are for resident use only, but a nice guy in the gym let me do one set of pull-ups. Gracias, Matias. The next day, I grabbed some coffee and breakfast in town, and then went to explore a part of the coast that I hadn't been to yet. On the way there, I saw a small road to explore, but this time the road got the better of me. Due to some overnight rain, this mud was so deep and slippery that I got stuck, almost went down, and eventually had to turn around. But hey, that's part of the adventure, right? After turning around in comical defeat, I head out another road toward the coast. And though the raindrops like to hang out on my GoPro lens, they also provide for a beautiful backdrop along the ride. As the rain picked up, I pulled over under a couple of trees to wait out a passing shower. This short stop turns out to be serendipitous, as while watching the rough seas with a backdrop of rainbow, I notice a spot where the waves crash over the rocks and then make a natural pool on the other side. Wow!
See, that's the water that comes in here and feeds my little swimming pool. Ah, big wave just crashed in, filling the pool up a little bit more.
Now it's time to test the clear waters and go for a swim in this gorgeous little haven.
Such a beautiful spot. Just got finished with a little swim in my private pool here. Nobody here. Just my dirt bike up there. Incredible.
This spot was awesome, and it was second only to the Moai at the quarry for my favorite place on the island.
It's like a perfect rainbow. Look at that, perfect. You see both ends.
Then, just as I'm about to leave, this guy showed up.
This guy just came out of nowhere for a little swim too. Hey buddy.
Just up the coast, I find another ridiculously beautiful location. Here, there is a local carving a small Moai statue. He's likely getting inspiration from this solo Moai nearby. So I decide to head in for a closer look. Closer? One more time. I take one last look at this peaceful spot before I head further up the coast. Sadly, I only have a short amount of time before I need to return my rental, so I want to take in some more pastoral views before heading back to town. Unfortunately, now it's time to head back toward town. Of course, whenever I see the opportunity to not take the road, well, I don't. As another shower moves over the island, I make one last Moai stop, where one still has its hat, and another looks like it got half its head taken off by a katana. Back in town, I'm gonna see how much all of this driving around is gonna cost me.
And I just filled up the tank and it's gonna cost me about $7.
$7 later, I'm headed back to the rental shop, so I will zoom us through town. Right across the street from the rental shop, there was a coffee shop that I had my eye on, so I decided to check it out. I loved the atmosphere at this place, and the owner was nice enough to charge my phone behind the counter while I sat in the lovely little patio area to drink a latte and admire the chickens, which weirdly added to the already pleasant atmosphere. The next morning, I have a little bit of time before my flight leaves, so after one last stop at Nana's, I'm going to enjoy some relaxing time by the ocean.
Whoa, look at that surfer go. Wow. Oh, and two more coming behind. Look at that. Look at this guy. Whoa, that's awesome. It's kind of a cloudy morning this morning, but it's really nice. It's really beautiful out here. Love watching these huge waves.
I've been to the ocean many times in my life, but I never realized just how much I love sitting and watching big waves until I came here. Maybe it's because I just got old, but I think maybe it's because of the nature of the coastline here. With the volcanic rocks protruding into the ocean, you can get up close and witness their power without getting completely destroyed by them.
Watch over there. Bam! Wow.
The videos and pictures just do not do justice, and they really fail to capture their true size and power.
Wow. Oh my God, look at that. Look at the water cascade off the rocks. Like waterfalls.
Back at the airport, after going through security, I found myself in the most pleasant boarding area that I have ever encountered.
This boarding area is so cool. I've never been in a boarding area that has a courtyard where you can walk out into the courtyard and look at your plane. What other airport has baby chickens at the boarding gate?
Hey buddy, why did you cross the road? Still unanswered. One potential problem with going somewhere that you've always wanted to go is the possibility that you've built it up so much in your mind that it can't possibly live up to your expectations. But for me, Rapa Nui was even better than I had hoped. Travel is so much about your mindset, and wherever you go, if you just find the fun and adventure in whatever happens, you'll never be disappointed. 49 states, 21 countries, and 5 continents, and I can honestly say I can't think of a single trip that I regret. Travel is more than just the days or weeks that you're there. For me, it's an investment in my soul, and I still glow over trips that I took 10 or more years ago. If anyone has actually made it this far in the video, hopefully you've been inspired to travel somewhere and make your own adventure.